Yesterday we were discussing about HCC, and I told you we came to the end of HCC. We were discussing about the cytological features that are presented in hepatocellular carcinoma, which is HCC. Now, in cytological features, I told you that generally cells resembling hepatocytes will have a very vesicular nucleus. Nucleus will become vesicular and will have a very prominent and dark nucleoli. Other than that, the cytoplasm of a cell that is affected by hepatocellular carcinoma, it becomes granular. Initially, in the initial stages of the cancer, it will be eosinophilic, filled with eosinophils. Later on, as malignancy increases or it becomes more potent, in the sense that, let's suppose in stage 1, the patient had eosinophils in their hepatocytes. As it progresses through stages, and let's suppose it is entering stage 3 or stage 4, it will increasingly become basophilic. Okay, a lot of basophils will enter into the hepatocytes, and that granulation will will be because of basophils rather than eosinophils. Okay, so that is about HCC. Today we'll start cholangiocarcinoma. Okay, so what is cholangiocarcinoma? This is carcinoma of your bile duct. Okay, um, 1 second. So cholangiocarcinoma is carcinoma of bile duct. All right, and specifically it is of bile duct epithelium within your liver. Mainly this cholangiocarcinoma or the carcinomas that arise from your bile duct will either be from the large hilar ducts right near the hilum, or it can be extrahepatic ducts. Okay, depending on either of the type, the name of that carcinoma will change. So it can be either extrahepatic carcinoma, bile duct carcinoma, or it can be hilar carcinoma, hilar bile duct carcinoma. Okay, depending on where it is originating from. And generally the cause of carcinoma, the etiological factors can be exposure to certain dyes, exposure to dye, specifically radio opaque dyes. Okay, these are radio opaque dyes. One example is your thorotrust. Why is thorotrust significant? Thorotrust has thorium dioxide. Thorium dioxide is weakly radioactive that can lead to cancers. Okay, so exposure to this dye, so it is used as a diagnostic agent sometimes, but if there is excessive exposure, some people are just susceptible to that dye. If they are being exposed to that dye, they may develop cancer. There is anabolic steroids. Then we have fibrocystic disease. Fibrocystic disease, it's a very big class of diseases. Okay, it can occur in several places, but generally fibrocystic disease occurs in breasts in women. You will have a lot of cysts, small pouches that are filled with fibrous tissue. Okay, several of them firm and sometimes even hard fibrocystic tissue will develop inside the body in different parts of the body. More commonly it is present in breast, but it can be present in other parts of the body as well. That also is associated with causation of cholangiocarcinoma. It is said to cause cholangiocarcinoma. Now, pathologically, the tumor that you find in cholangiocarcinoma is firm and it is very hard and whitish. I'll show you one image for cholangiocarcinoma. Hold on. 1 second. Right. See, this is how a cholangiocarcinoma looks. If you can see here in the bile duct, specifically यहाँ पर they have mentioned both intrahepatic tumor and extrahepatic tumor. As you can see, it will start off in the epithelium of that bile duct and it will keep growing. And the mass that you see, the tumor mass that you see, it will be very firm and hard and it will be whitish in color. Okay, the tumor has glandular structure. It will resemble biliary epithelium, but it will not secrete any bile. Okay, that is the main difference between the tumor and normal cells. So it will become very big, it will become hard and whitish, it will block your what do you call flow of bile, obviously, because these tumors are not letting bile flow properly. Other than that, these will have slightly glandular structures, but they will not secrete any bile as such. So that is what do you call your cholangiocarcinoma. Just write it here. tumors are hard and firm, hard and whitish. Okay, they have glandular structures, but do not secrete bile. All right. So if you are able to find such structures in your in that particular tumor, you can generally assess that it is a cholangiocarcinoma. Now coming to something called hepatoblastoma. This is a rare malignant tumor. Generally, it occurs in children who are less than 2 years of age. Okay. Generally, this arises from primitive hepatic parenchymal cells. So you will have two different types of components in that tumor itself. You'll understand in a bit why we are calling it a primitive. So in that liver, what will happen is primitive hepatic parenchymal cells, they will start developing a tumor, and this generally progresses in patients who are less than 2 years old. What you will be seeing, the symptoms will include anorexia, they will not eat, and you will have abdominal distension, failure to thrive. They will not grow normally. Okay, especially their body weight will not increase normally as a normal child should have their weight increased. They will have fever and sometimes even jaundice. Okay, it is more common in boys. Um, Occurs in infants or occurs. 1 second. People are trying to join in. Less than 2 years of age. Okay. More common in boys. Typically, this starts off with a primitive hepatic cell or hepatocyte, and the symptoms that you see will be abdominal distension, severe abdominal distension. You will see anorexia, they will not eat. Because there is anorexia, there will be failure to thrive. Failure to thrive is a condition in which the patient will not, or the baby will not gain weight. Like normally, as the age progresses, the what do you call, a baby should gain weight. That will not happen. That is failure to thrive. Okay, they will not thrive properly. Fever and jaundice. Now, if you look at the pathological changes of the tumor, how the tumor looks, as such, hepatoblastoma can be considerably big. Okay, it is well circumscribed in the sense that there are clean boundaries and it is lobulated. It has several lobules. It measures around 5 to 25 centimeters in size. In some it will be 5, in some 20. It ranges between 5 and 25 centimeters. And the area, whichever the area inside the tumor, let's suppose this is the tumor, you'll be able to see three different zones in that, or three different areas inside the tumor. You will have one area of cystic degeneration. So you have one area of cystic degeneration. Cystic degeneration means that normal tissue that is present, now obviously it is developing from hepatic parenchymal cells, means tumor hai bole to it will keep on dividing again and again, right? So normally speaking, you should see the same type of tissue, but in this tumor you will see one area which is undergoing cystic degeneration. Cystic degeneration means that normal tissue is getting converted into a gum like mass. Okay, it will look like a gelatinous or gum like tissue. It will degenerate. That is cystic degeneration. Then you have an area of hemorrhage and you will have an area of necrosis. So let's suppose this is the area of cystic degeneration. Okay, and this is the area of hemorrhage. You will have bleeding in this area, clotting occurring and all of that, and you will have an area of necrosis. Okay, so you have three different zones in the same tumor. You have a necrotic zone where necrosis is occurring. Then you have a zone of hemorrhage, right? So in the same tumor that ranges between 5 to 25 centimeters. Now microscopically, if you look into hepatoblastoma, the type of cells that you will see other than this area, there are a few types of cells or components, so to speak, that you see inside the tumor. So those components will include, now inside the tumor, obviously you will see these areas where there is cystic degeneration occurring, necrosis occurring, and hemorrhage occurring, but in between them you will see some cells. Those cells are of two different types. Okay, they can be epithelial cells or they can be mesenchymal cells. Okay, two different types of cells will be seen, and generally epithelial cells can be either embryonal cells or it can be either what do you call your fetal hepatocytes. I'll not get into more detail, but just remember that for now you will have mesenchymal cells which is more fibrous and it will have more fibrous connective tissue, whereas epithelial cells will generally have a dark staining nucleus and very scanty cytoplasm. The cytoplasm will not be enough. Sometimes if it is fetal hepatocyte, it can have more cytoplasm, but it is rarer. Okay, you will have either epithelial cells or mesenchymal cells. So inside the tumor, you will have cells like this present around these areas of cystic degeneration and hemorrhage and necrosis, and those cells can be divided into either epithelial or mesenchymal cells. Okay, these are slightly more thick, or to put it in another way, slightly more firm. Mesenchymal cells are more firm because they have fibrous connective tissue, cartilage, and osteoid deposition to various degree. Epithelial cells, whereas, will have two different types. You will have embryonal cells or you will have fetal hepatocytes, which have their own specific properties, varying in their cytoplasm and the nuclei and all of that. Okay, so that is about hepatoblastoma. Now coming to tumors of the gallbladder. Okay, now tumors of the gallbladder are more common or more frequent in women, especially in women who are in their 70s. Okay, the causes are very varied. Generally what happens is gallbladder tumors are very slow growing. They take a very long period of time for to grow properly, and to such an extent it is very hard to detect them as well. And generally when it is detected, it is at such a stage that it is very widely spread and it is inoperable. You cannot operate and remove the tumors. It will be very diffuse and it will spread quite a lot. That is why it will take, because it is taking a very long period of time to thrive and to grow. Because 70s mein ho raha bole to it has started for a long period of time and it is growing slowly, and by the time you actually manage to locate it or diagnose it, it'll be too late. So generally that happens. Okay, it is hard to detect it early. um, More common in women around 70 years of age. Okay, and other than that, what is important, you have, these are slow growing mass, inoperable, and widely spread by the time they are detected. Okay, now coming to etiology, what are the causative agents of this tumor, gallbladder tumor? It can vary quite a lot. So the first and foremost causes will be cholelithiasis, cholelithiasis, and cholecystitis. Cholelithiasis is gallstones. Cholecystitis is inflammation of gallbladder. In either of these cases, whenever a patient has a history of either cholelithiasis or cholecystitis, there is a direct correlation that they might develop gallbladder tumor. Okay, then we have chemical carcinogens. Specifically, if a person or there is a worker who is working in rubber industry, they have a higher risk of developing gallbladder cancer. So rubber industry workers, they have a significantly high amount of, because rubber itself, for exposure to rubber for a very long period of time, especially the process of vulcanization, that can be carcinogenic. Okay, that is why people generally develop gallbladder cancer, those who are working in rubber industries for a very long period of time. Then we have there are genetic factors. Then you will have some patients who have had previous surgeries. Let's suppose someone has a history of surgery in their biliary tract, they have a higher incidence of having gallbladder cancer. Okay, um, so patients with history of gallbladder surgery, right? Gallbladder surgery or biliary tract surgery, or biliary tract surgery. This is because, see, whenever you're performing surgery, you are basically cutting into something, and you will invariably damage some cells. Now tumors are something that are formed when division is not proper, or to put it in another way, excuse me sir, meaning of carcinogens. Carcinogens are agents that will cause cancer. Cancer causing agents are called carcinogens. So in this case, rubber itself will act as a carcinogen. Chemical carcinogen will be anything that is of chemical origin and it can cause cancer. Okay, so for example, smoke can cause cancer, or eating smoked food can cause cancer, and carbon monoxide ingestion for a long period of time can cause cancer. There are several factors, environmental factors रहते वैसा. Okay, environmental carcinogenic factors. Now, no problem. Now, as I was telling, surgery करे जब, obviously there will be some sort of damage. Okay, tumors are something that are formed when, so for example, let's suppose I'm cutting into a patient's gallbladder. Okay, they have their gallbladder like this, for example, and I am cutting into it because of whatever surgery that I'm performing. Let's suppose they have gallstones, and I'm simply trying to perform a surgery and removing those gallstones. Now, whenever I have performed surgery, obviously I've created an injury. I am stitching it up and all of that, but obviously your body has to recover. While recovering, cells are dividing. So let's suppose I have removed some 2000, 3000 cells while cutting into your gallbladder. They have been damaged. And now those 2000 cells have to form again, right? That happens because of hyperplasia and hypertrophy, both. यहाँ पर, as cells are growing back, there can be one odd cell that is not dividing properly, or to put it another way, let's suppose this cell has a defect. Let me put this cell like this. Okay, there is a problem in division. This red cell did not divide properly, and there was a problem in mitosis or meiosis, and at one point of time there was a genetic error or a DNA error in this one. Now what happens is, eventually this fellow will keep on dividing. This is the origin of your tumor. This is a very simplified version of what I'm telling you about cancer, but this is one hypothesis. Okay, there is a problem in division. See, whenever you create injury and whenever there is a chance of repair or regeneration, you are exposing yourself to uh, a higher incidence of cancer in a very vague way, in the sense that obviously cells have to divide, and if there is any problem in that division process, a tumor can develop. And if the tumor is thriving, generally you have mechanisms in your body wherein this cell will be killed. Okay, because it is a improper cell, apoptosis will occur and that cell will be killed. Sometimes that cell will be spared. Okay, sometimes if that apoptotic mechanism is not working properly, or the cell is able to overcome that mechanism, that fellow will thrive. That is the origin of a tumor. Generally this is how tumors develop. यहाँ पर, that is the reason, if someone is undergoing a gallbladder surgery or a biliary tract surgery, this is how they can develop a cancer. Okay, I hope you understood that part. Right. Now, these are the etiological factors. Coming to pathological changes that you see. Specifically in the gallbladder, you will see two different types of changes. They can be either infiltrative type, the tumor that is growing, it can be either infiltrative type of tumor or it can be a fungating type of tumor. In the sense that, agar infiltrative type of tumor, it is a irregular and diffuse thickening. In the sense that it will go deeper into the layers of your gallbladder, it will start expanding, and there will be a induration in your gallbladder. So in your gallbladder there'll be literally induration ka matlab hai you are pressing the gallbladder inside. Okay, let's suppose this is a normal surface of some substance. Induration will be this is an induration. Okay, such indurations will start appearing in your what you call gallbladder. This is specifically because the integrity of that gallbladder or that cell, the wall of the gallbladder is being lost. जो भी क्या बोलते हैं cells that are thickening and are becoming diffuse, they are going in the wrong direction and making they literally create a ulcer like situation sometimes. Okay, they will create deep ulcers, and these ulcers will invade all the way from your gallbladder. They can go into your liver bed as well. That is why indurations develop. That is infiltrative type, where it is going deeper and deeper. That is one type. Then you have a fungating type. Fungating type का मतलब क्या है? You will have a irregular cauliflower like growth. So you will literally have a growth that is growing out like this. Okay, it's not exactly like a cauliflower, but it will look like this. It will be friable, meaning if you touch it or if you try to force it, it will break, it will crumble away. Okay, the tumor itself will grow like this in a cauliflower way. It will be either papillary or it will be cauliflower like, but this growth occurs into the lumen of your gallbladder. And sometimes what happens is it will grow into your wall of the gallbladder as well, and in beyond. So it can distend this way or it can distend this way. More often than not, it will enter into the lumen and start growing into the lumen, where basically it is blocking your gallbladder. So you have a lumen inside your gallbladder, right? That will start getting blocked near the neck of the one of the most prominent areas where you will have a tumor is the neck of the gallbladder. Wahan se, if this tumor starts proliferating into the lumen, ultimately what will happen is it is creating an obstruction or it is creating a blockage. Okay, that is how fungating type of tumors will develop. Now, microscopically, if you look into these tumors, these cancers are mostly adenocarcinoma, developing from a glandular structure. Okay, they can be either papillary type or infiltrative type. Most of them are adenocarcinomas. Sometimes, 5% of the times, they'll be developing from squamous cells. So they are squamous cell carcinomas. I'll just write them down. Most gallbladder cancers are adenocarcinomas. 5% are squamous cell carcinomas, developing from squamous cells. Rarely, very rarely, you will have a cancer that is showing the properties of both squamous cell and adenocarcinoma. Those are called adenosquamous carcinomas. Squamous carcinomas. Rare, and they show properties of both the types. Okay, both the what do you call adenocarcinoma type and the squamous cell carcinoma type, development wise. Now coming to the next type, tumors of the pancreas, a very small topic. So we have tumors of pancreas. Now pancreatic tumors generally develop in the head of the pancreas. So if you look at the pancreas, suppose आपके pancreas को मैं ऐसा उतारा, okay, something like that. If you divide it into three regions, this will be the head, this will be the body, and this will be the tail, if I remember it correctly. ठीक है, यहाँ से आपका duodenum जाता, ठीक है. It will not cut into your, one second, it will not cut into your this thing. Let's suppose ऐसे जा रहा है duodenum. Okay, this is your duodenum. Now, near the head, most of the carcinomas that you develop in your, most of the tumors that you develop in pancreas will be from the head of the what you call pancreas, and they are more common in men than in women. Generally, the incidence will increase after 50 years. So, more common in more common in men. Um, over 50 years. Okay. From 50 years onwards, risk increases. Other than that, pancreatic cancers are more common in Western countries, Western countries as well as in Japan. For some reason, that part of the world has higher incidence of pancreatic cancers. Now, etiologically, the causative agents for these tumors, logical agents, can be quite varied. So they will vary from smoking, so someone who is a constant smoker, diet and obesity. Then we have chemical carcinogens. No specific type. If they are coming across chemical carcinogens, they have a higher risk of developing uh, pancreatic tumors. I'll not get into the details of what type of chemicals they are. Diabetes mellitus. People who have high diabetes mellitus have a tendency to develop pancreatic cancers, and chronic pancreatitis. Chronic pancreatitis, chronic inflammation of your pancreas. All of these people generally tend to develop pancreatic tumors at some point in their life. Especially if you see into the pathological changes that occur in these tumors, your carcinoma, especially the head of the that is occurring in the head of the carcinoma, head of the pancreas, sorry, will be very small. There will be small multiples, or they can be solitary as well. They are homogeneous in structure. There will not be different types of cells present inside the tumor. There will only be one type of cell present inside the tumor, and they are poorly defined in the sense that you will not see clear demarcation like this. अब मैं ऐसा उतारा ना, this is clearly demarcated. It is circumscribed, meaning it has edges. Okay, rather than edges, it has clear boundaries. Okay, in these type of tumors of your pancreas, these are not exactly clear. In the sense, it will be more like this. So you have a tumor present in between, but it is a diffuse type of tumor. Okay, and generally that tumor will be grayish white in color. Without any sharp demarcation, obviously, as I told you. And what do you call the tumor? The sharp demarcation will be present between tumor and the surrounding what do you call pancreatic parenchyma. Matlab, the difference between this normal cell, let's suppose this is a normal cell of your pancreas, and this is a tumor cell. One second, let me use a different color for that. Let's suppose your pancreatic cells are these pink cells. Okay, alpha cell le lo, beta cell le lo, islet cell le lo, jo bhi hai. Okay, and these are normal cells. The difference between this and the tumor will not be very clear, in the sense that it will be very diffuse and it will blend into each other in a way. You will obviously see a grayish white mass, but it will not be clearly defined with boundaries. Okay, so that is about pancreatic tumors, and with this we have completed your tumors of GIT, pancreas, and your not GIT, that's a liver, pancreas, and your gallbladder. We'll start cholecystitis tomorrow. Okay, inflammation of your gallbladder.